welcome back. I'm Shrike here with another D&D video. Today we're going to be jumping back into the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount as we have a look at Dunamancy spells. Before I go on with the rest of the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload another video. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like, it really does help me out. So we've already done quite a few of these first looks into areas of the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. So we've looked at the Vestiges of Divergence, the Arms of the Betrayers, and all three of these new subclasses in the book. All of the links to those other videos, if you want to watch them, are all going to be down in the description, and the card that comes up along here will go to the subclasses video. But today we're here to look at the Dunamancy spells, so let's jump into D&D Beyond and see what they have in store for us. Okay, so straight off the bat we can see that there are new spells for every single spell level. It's interesting that they've also grouped them into current schools of magic, so rather than making these completely new schools of magic, they've grouped them into Necromancy, Divination, Transmutation, and all of the current ones, which is quite interesting to see. So as we scroll down here, there is a little excerpt here talking about Dunamancy spells for non-Dunamancers and how they come into the game. So right at the end here, there's a few ways you can incorporate it into your game. So it says, perhaps the characters uncover a cache of magical contraband, among which are a couple of spell scrolls. And there's, different ways for you to include this into your game if you want to. So that's good. Okay, so we're starting off with the Dark Star, which is an 8th level spell, evocation spell. You use one action, it's got a range of 150 feet. And interestingly here, it says you need a drop of the caster's blood, both of which the spells consume. So you need a shard of onyx and a drop of the caster's blood, which is interesting. It's concentration up to a minute, and let's have a look at what it does. So this spell creates a sphere centered on a point you choose within range. The sphere has a radius of 40 feet, so it's a pretty big sphere. The area within the sphere is filled with magical darkness and crushing gravitational force. For the duration, the spell's area is difficult terrain. A creature with dark vision cannot see through magical darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. No sound can be created within or pass through the area. Any creature or object entirely in the sphere is immune to thunder damage, and creatures are deafened while entirely inside it. Casting a spell that includes a verbal component is impossible in there, which is pretty much all the spells. I think there's very few that don't have the verbal component. Any creature that enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there must do a Constitution saving throw. Creature takes 8d10 force damage on a fail save, or half as much as a successful one. Creature reduced to 0 hit points by this damage is disintegrated. Disintegrated creature and everything it is wearing and carrying except magical items are reduced to a pile of fine grey dust. Ouch. So 8d10 force damage is quite a lot. It's an 8th level spell though, so you'd expect it to be quite high. The fact that it disintegrates anyone that gets to 0 is nasty, because this could definitely wipe a party then if everyone is low and then this is cast and they're all hit to 0 and disintegrated. So there's no way to get them back, basically. Well, there is ways obviously, but it's very hard to get them back. That, coupled with the fact that creatures in there are deafened and can't cast spells, this is a very nasty spell. You can see here in the little graphic as well, there's a monster. I don't actually know what that is. There's some sort of monster that is looks like it's getting pulled into the sphere, or is trying to get out of the sphere. But yeah, that is pretty nasty stuff to start off the spells. Let's go on to Fortune's Favour then. So I think this is one that has been used in the Season 2 of Critical Role by Caleb. So it's a 2nd level divination, cast time 1 minute, 60 feet range. You need a white pearl worth 100 gold, which the spell consumes, and it lasts an hour. You impart latent luck to yourself or one willing creature you can see within range. When the chosen creature makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw before the spell ends, it can dismiss this spell on itself to roll an additional d20 and choose which of the d20s to use. Alternatively, when an attack roll is made against a chosen creature, it can dismiss this spell on itself to roll a d20, choose which of the d20s to use, the one it rolled or the one that the attacker rolled. If the original d20 has advantage or disadvantage, the creature rolls the additional d20 after advantage or disadvantage has been applied to the original roll. At higher levels, or third or higher, you can target one additional creature. Okay, so basically you give them a luck point, which is pretty handy. That's obviously one of the most powerful feats in the game, so adding it in here as a spell is pretty good. Yeah, loads of implications there. I don't think I need to explain that one too much. So this is a first level spell, Gift of Alacrity. So cast time 1 minute, touch range, verbal and somatic, duration 8 hours. You touch a willing creature for the duration. The target can add 1d8 to its initiative rolls. Okay, that's good. There's not any, not that I can think of, there's no other spells that affect initiative, so that's a good addition to the game, I would say. Initiative is something that is pretty damn important in combat, so the ability to affect that is pretty cool. Very nice first level spell. So Gravity Fissure is a 6th level spell with an action casting time, range itself but 100-foot line from self, I assume that means. It's instantaneous, so you manifest a ravine of gravitational energy in a line originating from you that is 100 feet long and 5 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 8d8 force damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Each creature within 10 feet of the line, but not in it, must succeed a Constitution saving throw or take 8d8 force damage and be pulled towards the line until the creature is in its area. When you cast a spell using 7th or lower, damage is increased for 1d8 for each slot above 6th. So that's pretty nasty, because really it's got a big range. It's 100 feet long, and then it has an effect of basically 15 feet wide. So it's a pretty big range, and a lot of damage as well, 8d8 force damage, and pulled towards the middle if they're by the side of it. So that's pretty cool. Pretty nasty again. I think that's probably going to be something that keeps coming up, that they're going to be quite nasty spells. As we go into Gravity Sinkhole, which is a 4th level evocation spell, cast time 1 action, range 120 feet, instantaneous duration. A 20-foot radius sphere of crushing force forms at a point you can see within range and tugs at the creatures there. Each creature in the sphere must make a Constitution saving throw. On a fail save, the creature takes 5d10 of force damage and is pulled in a straight line towards the centre of the sphere, ending in an unoccupied space as close to the centre as possible, even if that space is in the air. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage and isn't pulled. For every higher slot, it does 1d10 damage. Okay, so the gravity-based spells that are coming in here obviously have a lot of effects that move people on the battlefield, which is always really nice if you're quite a tactical gamer. The ability to move people about and control where they are is always very helpful. Once again, it's doing quite a lot of damage. It's a 4th level spell, so that's pretty good. But I think the ability to move them is better, and especially that is up into the air as well, so you could pull people upwards, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, another good one. Immovable Object, which is a 2nd level transmutation spell with 1 action, range touch, duration 1 hour. You also have to use gold dust worth 25 gold, which the spell consumes. You touch an object that weighs no more than 10 pounds and cause it to be magically fixed in place. You and the creatures you designate when you cast this spell can move the object normally. You can also set a password that, when spoken within 5 feet of the object, suppresses the spell for 1 minute. If the object is fixed in air, it can hold up to 4,000 pounds of weight, so quite a lot of weight. More weight causes the object to fall. Otherwise, a creature can use this action to make a strength check against a spell save DC. On a success, the creature can move the object up to 10 feet. If you cast it at a higher level, the DC to move the object increases by 5. It can carry up to 8,000 pounds worth of weight, and the duration increases to 24 hours. If you cast a spell of 6th or higher, the DC goes to 10. Carry weight goes to 20,000, and the effect is permanent until dispelled. Okay, that's interesting. So there's a few implications here, I guess. The first thing that sort of came to mind was getting something that weighs no more than 10 pounds, putting it fixed in place in air, like next to a wall or something, and basically using it as a little step up, if you ever need a step up. because it can hold £4,000 of weight, which is quite a lot. So that should be more than enough to get a few people over a wall. But yeah, I'm sure this is going to be used in some strange ways when it comes out. If you can think of any fun ways to use this, let me know in the comments and hopefully give me a laugh. That'd be pretty nice. But yeah, I like that one as well. Let's go to the next one. Magnify Gravity, first level transmutation, 1 action, 60 feet and duration of a round. The gravity in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you can see within range increases for a moment. Each creature in the sphere on the turn when you cast a spell makes a Constitution saving throw. On a fail save, a creature takes 2d8 force damage and its speed is halved until the end of its next turn. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage and suffers no reduction to its speed. Until the start of your next turn, any object that isn't being worn or carried in the sphere requires a successful strength check against the spell save DC to pick up or move. Okay, so that's a pretty nice first level spell. Does a little bit of damage and halves the speed of people in there. So yeah, pretty good. I also didn't mention that if you do it at a high level, it increases by 1d8 damage. So yeah, a nice little spell again. Nothing much to say about that one. Let's go on to the next one. So Pulse Wave, which is third level, casting time of 1 action, self 30-foot cone, duration instantaneous. You create intense pressure, unleash it in a 30-foot cone and decide whether the pressure pulls or pushes enemies and objects. Or creatures and objects, Each creature in that cone must make a Constitution saving throw. A creature takes 66 force damage on a failed or half as much on a success. And every creature that fails to save is either pulled 15 feet or pushed 15 feet, depending on the choice you made in the spell. In addition, unsecured objects are completely within the cone, and likewise are pushed or pulled 15 feet. When you cast it at 4th level or higher, the damage increases by 1d6, and the distance increases or decreases by, or pulled or pushed by 5 foot. Okay, so another moving sort of spell here. There's quite a few of them in here, but I'm okay with it because there's not many in the actual main game where you can move creatures and objects about. So I'm sort of okay that there's quite a lot in this book. And it makes sense, obviously, being gravity-based magic, that you can pull people about. So yeah, that's a very nice one, a very good utility-based spell here. Reading these so far are definitely making me want to play a Graviturgist Wizard. So maybe that'll have to be my next character. This next one looks like it's the 9th level one. So Ravenous Void, 9th level, evocation, 1 action, range 1,000 feet. Okay, material components don't get consumed. Duration is up to a minute concentration. You create a 20-foot radius sphere of destructive gravitational force centered on a point you can see within range. For the spell's duration, the sphere and any space within 100 feet of it are difficult terrain, and non-magical objects fully inside the sphere are destroyed if they aren't being worn or carried. Okay, just straight out destroyed. Interesting. When the sphere appears at the start of each of your turns until the spell ends, unsecured objects within 100 feet of the sphere are pulled towards the sphere centre, ending up in unoccupied space as close to the centre as possible. A creature that starts its turn within 100 feet of the sphere must succeed a strength saving throw or be pulled straight towards the sphere's centre, ending up in an unoccupied space as close to the centre as possible. A creature that enters the sphere for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there takes 5d10 force damage and is restrained until it is no longer in the sphere. If the sphere is in the air, the restrained creature hovers inside the sphere. A creature can use its action to make a strength check against your spell save DC, ending this restraint condition on itself or another creature in the sphere that it can reach. A creature reduced to 0 hit points where so is annihilated, along with any non-magical items it is wearing or carrying. Okay, so that 100 feet of the sphere is a pretty big range. So this, you could just instantly pull everyone to the middle of the sphere, and the middle of the sphere could be off the edge of a cliff, it could be in lava, it could be anywhere. So this is very nasty. Obviously it's a 9th level spell, so you have to be level 17 or higher to get it. So it's a pretty big boy spell. But yeah, I like that. I like that we're sort of continuing with the spells that forcefully move people and objects about, and it's sort of fitting that that's what the 9th level spell is. It's just a big version of that. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Doesn't do too much damage for a 9th level spell, but obviously there's a hell of a lot of utility implications there. So yeah, I'm fine with it. Right, so Reality Break is the next one. 8th level conjuration, 1 action, 60-foot range, concentration up to a minute. You shatter the barriers between realities and timelines, thrusting a creature into turmoil and madness. The creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw, where it can't take reactions until the spell ends. The affected creature must also roll a d20 at the start of each of its turn. The number rolled determines what happens, as shown on the Reality Break effects table below. At the end of the turn, the effect can repeat the wisdom saving throw, ending the spell on a success. So let's have a look at these effects then. Before I even look at them, I really enjoy randomness in D&D, so stuff like this. Keep adding them to the game, please. That will make me very happy. So if you roll a 1 or 2 Vision of the Far Realm, the target takes 6d12 psychic damage and is stunned until next turn. So that's pretty nasty. This is an 8th level spell though, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, 8th level spell, so they're all probably going to be quite nasty. If you roll a 3 to 5, you get Rendering Rift. The target must make a dexterity saving throw, take 8d12 force damage on a fail save, or half as much on a successful one. So quite a lot of damage there. 6 to 8 is a wormhole. The target is teleported along with everything it's wearing up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see. The target also takes 10d12 force damage and is knocked prone. So they seem to be getting worse and worse the higher you roll, but that's a pretty bad one. You can move them where you want and do a hell of a lot of damage. 9 to 10, Chill of the Dark Void. The target takes 10d12 cold damage and is blinded until the end of its next turn. So yeah, once again, a lot of damage, and blinded is quite a nasty effect. So yeah, they're all pretty nasty, and as I said, I like the randomness of it. There's not one which is overly underpowered, because that can be quite deflating when you use an 8th level ability, but then you roll one which is a really poor ability, or poor effect, sorry. But they're all pretty good, and you'd be happy with any of them. So yeah, definitely good spell again. Here's a little bit of art as well of, I don't actually know what monster that might be. Could be Ukatoa with all of the eyes in a tentacle maybe. There's a mouth here. I don't think it's a gibbering mouther, but yeah. Nice art again. Okay, so the first cantrip is Sapping Sting. So 1 action, 30 feet, instantaneous. You sap the vitality of one creature you can see within range. The target must make a constitution saving throw or take 1d4 necrotic damage and fall prone. The spell damage increases by 1d4 when you hit 5th, 11th and 17. Okay, so a little bit of damage, but makes them fall prone, which could, in the early levels when you're fighting stuff like goblins, orcs, stuff like that has to get close to you, the ability to knock them prone before they get to act is actually quite helpful. So pretty useful cantrip. I think they do need to add some more damaging cantrips to the game, because really it's Eldritch Blast if you're a warlock, Firebolt if you're a wizard, Vicious Mockery if you're a bard, stuff like that. There's not much reason to go for different ones a lot of the time, but yeah, the ability to knock them prone is pretty good. I would probably have liked to see it as 1d6 instead of 1d4. I think 1d4 is particularly low. But yeah, maybe they've done some testing and I'm wrong. But yeah, I don't know if I'd use that just because of the 1d4 part, to be honest, unless I really needed to. But we'll see when I hopefully have a go with these spells. Next one is Temporal Shunt. So it's 5th level, and it's casting time of a reaction, taking when a creature you see makes an attack roll or starts to cast a spell. A range of 120 feet and duration for 1 round. You target the triggering creature, which must make a wisdom save or vanish, being thrown to another point in time and causing the attack to miss or the spell to be wasted. At the start of its next turn, the target reappears where it was or in the closest unoccupied space. The target doesn't remember you casting the spell or being affected by it. When you do it of 6th level or higher, you can target 1 additional creature. All targets must be within 30 feet of each other. That's pretty nice. So it's like a counterspell, really. It's got the same effect. It stops a spell. And In fact, it's more powerful than Counterspell, because Counterspell, they have to roll higher the higher level spell it is, whereas in theory they could be doing a wish spell and you can counter it with this without it needing to be a really high roll. So it's pretty good, pretty nasty actually. I think everyone will be taking this. It's obviously a higher level than Counterspell, so yeah. But yeah, very nice. I can also see a few implications about the target reappearing, so if it's just one enemy on its own, you could use this, get everyone to surround them, and then just bombard them when they come back to the space again. So next one's Tebbit Essence, which is 7th level Necromancy. You do 1 action, 60 feet range, concentration up to an hour. You need a platinum cord worth at least 250 gold, which is consumed. 2 creatures you can see within range make a Constitution saving throw with disadvantage if they are both within 30 feet of each other. Either creature can willingly fail the save. If either save succeeds, the spell has no effect. If both save fail, the creature are magically linked for the duration, regardless of the distance between them. When damage is dealt to one of them, the same damage is dealt to the other. If hit points are restored to one, the same number of hit points are restored to the other. If either of the tethered creatures reduced to 0, the spell ends on both. If the spell ends on one creature, it ends on both. Okay, so 7th level. I'm not sure if that's powerful enough for a 7th level spell. There's obviously a few different ways you could do this. So you could tether it to an ally and an enemy, and then whenever the ally is attacked, the enemy is going to take damage. But then it would be vice versa as well, so that would be a bit nasty. Or you could tether it to 2 allies, and then when one of them gets healed, the other one gets healed as well. And then obviously you could do 2 enemies and then just keep hitting one of them and they're both going to take the damage. I guess it is quite nasty. I don't know if it's enough for 7th level. I'm not sure. I'll have to see when we actually get into game and try it out. But yeah, my first instinct was it's not big enough effect for a 7th level spell. But it is definitely a very nice effect and something we haven't seen in the game before, so I like it because of that, definitely. And here is the 9th level spell for the Chronologist Mage. Time Ravage, 9th level Necromancy, casting time 1 action, range 90 feet. Components, you need a hourglass field of diamond dust worth at least 5,000 gold, which the spell consumes. So a pretty big ask there, but it is a 9th level spell. You target a creature you can see within range, putting this physical form through the devastation of rapid aging. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, taking 10d12 damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. If the save fails, the target also ages to the point where it only has 30 days left before it dies of old age. In this aged state, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, and is walking at half speed. Only the Wish spell or Greater Restoration cast with a 9th level spell slot can end these effects and restore the target to the previous age. Well, that's pretty mean. So you literally make the person have 30 days left before they die. So even if in combat you don't finish them off, you can just walk away and they'll die 30 days later. And the only way to stop it is a 9th level spell. That is pretty nasty. And then obviously outside of combat, you could just be walking down the street, cast this on someone because it's instantaneous duration. They fail and then run off down an alley, and 30 days later they're going to die. So it could be definitely used by assassins as well. I like the feel of the fact that they rapidly age as well. You can sort of imagine them going through the stages of later life until they become old and decrepit. I like it. It's a very mean spell, but it is a 9th level Necromancy spell, so I guess what can you expect? But very nice, very good addition to the game, I think. Right, so let's go to the last one now, which is Wrist Pocket, which is 2nd level Conjuration, 1 action, self. The component is only semantic, so that's a bit different. Usually there's verbal in there as well. Duration, concentration up to 1 hour. So you flick your wrist, causing one object in your hand to vanish. The object which only you can be holding and can weigh no more than 5 pounds, is transported to an extra dimensional space where it remains for the duration. Until the spell ends, you can use your action to summon the object to your free hand, and you can use your action to return the object to the extra dimensional space. An object still in the pocket plane when the spell ends appears in a space at your feet. Okay, so there's a few things about this one, because it's concentration. There could be a situation where you've done this and then you go into combat, get hit, and then something just drops at your feet that the enemies would see, which is quite funny. I like the fact that it's only somatic. Now that I've actually read the spell, I'm sort of imagining it basically like a magician in the real world, making something disappear from their hand, and it would be a bit weird if you did. I guess they do say like abracadabra or something like that, but I like the fact that you can just flick your wrist and then it's gone. That's quite cool. But yeah, a very good one to end off this list of spells. There you go. There's my first look through all of the Dunamancy spells. I really enjoy both of the new subclasses of the Graviturgist and the Chronogist. I think all of the time and gravity elements that they're adding to the game is really cool, and it's really going to add another level to combat, so I'm happy for it. I definitely want to go and play a Graviturgist now. All of the spells that move people on the battlefield really interest me. I would rather be doing that than doing damage, so I will probably play that as my next one. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you hit the notification bell next to it, you'll be notified when I next upload a video. This is going to wrap up me looking through the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount now. I might do an overall review and what I think of the book a bit later, but in terms of the first looks, this will be the last one. But there's going to be loads more content coming out on the channel, so make sure that you do subscribe. Let me know what you think of the spells and which one you're most looking forward to using in your game down in the comments below. And until next time, happy gaming!